Пальцы холодом свело. Скоро в гости. Ждите зло.
This adaptation is different also because like usually we saw Macbeth as like a school play, you know, like there are 14-year-olds playing or very young people. And this is the first time we see actually adult people like that actually dealt with these issues. How did you work with this aspect?
I had never seen Macbeth before, so I had never seen it with 14-year-olds or 40-year-olds. This was the first time I'd actually read the play.
I thought your career started with you playing in Fordham University.
Yeah, but that was Othello, and then Julius Caesar later on, and Richard III, but never Macbeth.
I was wondering, after your long and great career, incredible career, how does Shakespeare plays still challenge you as an actor and as a person?
Just the language, just starting with the language is a challenge, you know, just having to interpret it to understand what they're talking about, you know, and what he's talking about. Needless to say, great plays, and in this case, with a great filmmaker and a great actress. So,
how do you think it's different from everything that we've seen before when it comes to Shakespeare adaptation?
It's definitely a blend of sort of the old and new. In my estimation, I feel like this film is a masterpiece of cinema. It's a sort of world-class acting. You know, you have some of the greatest actors of our time literally working on one of the greatest playwrights of many times. You know, you put all of that together with one of the sort of greatest directors of our time. And I think that Joel was sort of doing, or Shakespeare was sort of Cohen before Cohen was, the Coens were Cohen, you know, in terms of the thriller aspect of it. That's the great part about this film is that, yeah, it's Shakespeare, but it's also like one of those films that you like lean forward and your breath is like, wait, you know.
I feel like it's a perfect combination of, it's a perfect marriage, you can say, you know, of movie and theater. How do you think, how is it so innovative?
What I think is really interesting about what Joel has done is that it does feel incredibly unique and really its own kind of world, but actually very familiar in that he is kind of setting it in the history of film almost, and almost in the history of Macbeth films. So there is a real Bergman quality to it. There's Kurosawa, there's some sort of Throne of Blood elements. The chiaroscuro lighting is very reminiscent of German Expressionism. So, and it's also very theatrical at the same time. We were on sound stages, everything, they were sets. It just doesn't look naturalistic. We're in black and white. I think the aspect ratio, the Academy ratio, that's almost like a square, creates this incredible composition of all of the scenes. So if you have if you have a close-up of a face, it is just face. There's no room for anything else. So the direct nature of the storytelling, every frame could be a photograph that is both giving you information about the themes of the story, but also kind of hits you emotionally on some level that is almost unknowable.
Francis McDormand was describing that, like, you know, that this couple, Lady Macbeth and Macbeth, like, you know, what would happen to Romeo and Juliet if they didn't commit suicide?
Yeah, we just talked about it, and I think Francis brought that up, that they were Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, I always say the universal stems from the specific. So as an actor, you have to get specific about, you know, the questions you ask and the history of their relationship and all of that.
What did you reflect on when you were working on Macbeth, on the Tragedy of Macbeth?
His soul. He talks about in his eternal jewel, mine eternal jewel, which is your soul, given to the common enemy of man, which is the devil, to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. He sold his soul to the devil.
There's a superstition about Macbeth not to pronounce the name of the play during production. And I know that you did pronounce it, like, you know, the whole cast kind of pronounced it. So I was wondering what happened. Can you tell us what happened?
I think when we were shooting, we ended up getting shut down, but everybody got shut down. But we got shut down on Friday the 13th. And so and we were halfway, maybe a little bit more than halfway done. So, you know, at that time, no one knew anything. But I think the more important thing was, you know, COVID and the sort of hospitalizations were rising and people were just, no one knew, you know, masks and all of that was just, you know, it feels like ages ago.
I read that somehow it worked out that like female characters didn't wear a corset, but male did.
Apparently that's true. I was more in like a one of the female costumes actually, so I didn't have the kind of big kind of leathery armor kind of jerkins. My costume was more based on Lady Macbeth's. So it's very slinky, very, very tight. And I have these kind of monkish robes that are reminiscent of someone religious, but also kind of Rasputin or something. But then I have these long kind of like wings, which maybe make you think of the birds and make you think of the witches.
Hers are like Valentina costumes, which is like, whoa, it's really impressive.
Yeah, I think everyone will be wearing them next year. Yeah.
I mean, the good part about Denzel is that he is so disarming. I've known him before working with him, and he was a sort of mentor in that capacity as well. But to finally be in the room and to be in rehearsals with him for weeks and just watch his love of the process and watch him sort of again fall in love with Shakespeare again with Frances McDormand. It's just one of those things, he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do this. It's a lot of actors will sort of settle for anything else, but he continues to challenge and push the needle forward, and to have a front row seat in that to be able to go toe to toe with them is incredible. And I just hope that I do is, just a service to him, you know what I mean? And just his work. 'Cause I just feel like a lucky guy.
Corey mentioned in his interviews that, you were the first one on set coming at 4 a.m. and the cinematographer confirmed it. And you work with so many young actors. What kind of work ethic knowledge do you want to pass to them?
I was just in there fighting for my own life. I wasn't passing on anything to them. I was just like, I got a lot of lines and I got to know them, and you don't have the luxury. We didn't do it on stage, so we didn't have the luxury of reciting or repeating the lines night after night after night, performance after performance. So I had to get in there and say the lines 1,000 times sometimes just so it would live